Hi everyone, this is Charlie High with High Society Aftercare and Consulting. Um, we are going to address a topic today that can be complicated, but we have someone who's an expert in that area. Attorney Sam Gray is going to help us understand estate planning a lot more, and we're not trying to do everything in one video, so we'll have more time to talk to Sam in the future. But let me first of all tell you how important I've noticed estate planning is, even though I don't know everything about it. I'm a grief counselor and aftercare coordinator. And by me talking with families after they've lost a loved one and hearing some of the horror stories about what they wish they had had in place, some of them just didn't have the knowledge. And so that's one reason after I met Sam, I wanted to at least let him share some of the things, some of the knowledge he has, because it can make your life a lot simpler. It can make you have less frustrations at that time when you're already grieving. So it's a very important topic. I hope you stay tuned to the video. But right now we're just gonna just get to know Sam a little bit better, and I'm gonna ask him a couple of questions about where he went to school, high school, and college at, and then the law firm that he represents. So here's Sam, and I appreciate him taking time to come hang out with us. Mr. Gray, Sam Gray, welcome to the High Side Channel. Thanks for taking time to come out today.
Thanks for having me.
Could you just tell us a little bit about your background, sir?
Yeah, so I'm from Window, North Carolina. Just pretty close by here. Born and raised. I went to Triple S, or as for those of you who don't know, Smithfield Selma over in Smithfield, North Carolina. I was on the football, wrestling, and track team. I was a captain, and then after that, I went to a Methodist University in Fayetteville to play football. Got hurt, couldn't play anymore, then went to NC State for college, got a bachelor's degree in political science, and after that I've always wanted to be an attorney, and I went to law school at Campbell, and the rest is kind of, here we are now. I've been practicing for a little over a year now with Mercogliano Associates in Fayetteville, or no, excuse me, Fuquay Varina, and I was just in Fayetteville yesterday, that's what made me think of it. So I've been doing that for quite a while, really enjoying it, and I got into estate planning and estate administration, and saw that it's something I kind of got dumped into, but really found myself to really enjoy.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. Sam, do you have any personal experience with someone not having their final wishes in place?
From personally, no, not so much, but I have seen it when it hadn't been planned well from family where it hadn't been done the right way, and people have manipulated it in probably ways they shouldn't have, which is part of the reason why I'm so passionate about this particular practice area, because I do other things, but I really enjoy this because you see a lot of people who are either at their wits' end because a loved one of theirs has just died, or because a loved one of theirs has just died and somebody's trying to cheat them, basically, and that's something I really derive a lot of pleasure from. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Well, let's just go ahead and dive into the basics of it.
Sure.
Some people, what is estate planning? That topic by itself.
Yeah.
Some people may say, I don't have money, I don't need to worry about my estate.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say to people who the basics about estate planning?
So the basics of estate planning. So estate planning is just kind of the broad category of documents that you prepare for either in anticipate that are going to be used after you die, or in anticipation of you potentially dying. There's kind of four big documents that I usually recommend to clients for. First one's a will. A will, everybody knows what that is. That's what divvies up your property when you pass away. And there you appoint an executor, you appoint a trustee if you want to set up something. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And you also say how you want it, where you want everything to go, what you want to happen. You can even put in there ways of, if people fight over your things, if they contest your will, they lose their share. Wills are they're a great tool because you can kind of make them whatever you want to be. The next, and that only applies after you've passed away. The next there's three other documents, and they're at play when you're living. That's the healthcare power of attorney, a durable power of attorney, and a living will. So to start with a durable power of attorney, that is in the event that you're unable to make your own financial decisions, this is the document that appoints somebody to do them for you. It's generally make any decision that's not healthcare related. Now, whenever I tell people about this, I always tell people be very careful who you appoint to this, because this person can do anything you can do with your money. So if I appointed John Brown walking down the street there, he could sell my car, he could buy me a car, he could sell my house, he could do anything. So you got to appoint people who you trust implicitly would never steal from you. The other two documents, there's a healthcare power of attorney. These are kind of more healthcare related. Healthcare power of attorney is exactly like the durable one, but it's only for healthcare related decisions. So this person can make any healthcare decision when you cannot. Now, this only comes into play when you are unable to make your own healthcare decisions. So in this document, this is where you would appoint somebody to basically give your informed consent when you're unable to do so, because the doctor or a nurse, they can't touch you unless they give they have your informed consent. So in order to do that, this person does it for you. They can make any decision from pulling the plug to having your nails trimmed and anything in between. And and in that same document, you can also make some appointments and decisions, as in, burial arrangements. What do you want to happen with your body? Do you want it to be donated? Do you want to donate any organs? And then the last document's a living will. And this is probably one I think one of the most important ones, especially for older people. But I have one too, though. So I mean, it's a good document everybody can stand to, but I highly recommend older people get one. And what this document does is it only applies in 3 situations: if you are terminally ill and are going to die within 6 months, if you have advanced dementia and are not going to regain your right mind, or you are unconscious and are not going to wake up. So kind of the 3 classic scenarios is if you have very bad dementia and have no idea who you are or where you are, if you are in kind of like a Terry Schiavo type of situation where you're in a vegetative state and you don't know what's going on and you're never going to wake back up again. And then the other one is if you're terminally ill, i.e. you have advanced pancreatic cancer or something like that. And what this document will do is it says, give me food and water, don't give me food and water, resuscitate me, don't resuscitate me, or if I direct you to pull the plug on me, you can't override me, this is what you're going to do. And because if you're in one of those situations where you're terminally ill, unconscious, or have very bad dementia, most people, and I think I speak for a lot of others, don't want to be kept alive in that situation. It's kind of a way of memorializing when you hear people say on TV, "Oh gosh, don't ever let me live that way. I would never want to be a vegetable." This is the document that does that. Mm-hmm. That's the one that does it. Those are kind of the big 4 that kind of encompass estate planning, other than trusts, which are a kind of a beast all their own.
Right. So I appreciate that explanation, because estate planning, to some people, they may think of just money. Mm-hmm. But from what you just shared, Sam, it also involves healthcare decisions.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, let me pause on healthcare for a second. Mm-hmm. What do doctors do if there's no living will and no family representative?
So generally, if there is no living will, a doctor's going to... I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak from experience, but from what I've heard, what they will do is they will just kind of go off of a quality of life, kind of something like that. And you obviously can't make a healthcare power of attorney or living will if you're not awake or cognizant enough to do it. So in that situation, it's kind of a judgment call. They kind of just do what they can. And most options there, most of the time, the doctor is going to keep you alive. In most situations, they're going to assume you want to live unless they're told otherwise, which is why you have to jump through all these hoops to say, no, don't care for me, don't let me suffer like this. You're just delaying the inevitable. But that's a fair question, though, because you don't see it happen enough, because typically there's some sort of patient advocate or some role who will step in, but it helps to have that person may not know what you want necessarily. Or it may be in a different state, they may do something different, but if you have this document, it's going to follow you. You can have it with you anywhere you want. You can show it to them. The people who you appoint are going to have cards. They can access your document pretty easily and can pull it up if they need it. So I highly, highly recommend you get one. And a lot of people think, I'm not old enough to get one. I'm 27. I have one because I could walk outside right now and get hit by a bus or struck by lightning. And crazy things happen, especially in the times we're living in now. Even though they're on the downswing, crazy things happen, and it's best to be prepared.
Indeed. Again, about living wills, Are they transferable state to state? Are you able to use a living will in another state?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
They're going to look different in each state as to if a New York attorney drafts a living will, it's going to look different than mine. And I also cannot draft a living will that says the state of New York on it because I'm not licensed there. But more often than not, hospitals are going to honor them. The only if you do move to a different state, it's probably best to get a new one for that state. So if you have a North Carolina living will or healthcare power of attorney and you move to New York, you probably need to get a New York one or even South Carolina. If you stay in the Southeast, they're probably okay. But if you move to like the Midwest or to California, the Northeast, the documents and the way that probate law there, which is the probate being the lawyer's way of saying estate planning law, it's going to vary just enough to make it so you probably need to get another one just to be safe. More than likely, you're going to hand somebody that document. Let's say you're on vacation in Florida, you get into a car accident, you go to the hospital. That document, the living will, the healthcare power of attorney, is going to apply there, but it's probably going to be a little slower because the Florida hospital is going to see it and go, whoa, this is a North Carolina document. Let's make sure it's okay. They're going to send it down to their lawyer downstairs. The lawyer downstairs is going to say it's perfectly fine, and they're going to send you back up and let you get cared for. So it's still good. It might be a little slower than if you got sent to Rex Hospital or something, but it's still, yes, it's still perfectly good. It rolls over in any state, and I highly recommend you have it. And if you are traveling to maybe not have a copy with you, but make sure that the those who you appoint, know where you are, where you're going, and can be reached if need be. So